What's
Rusty's
up?
a bitch. It's a big fat bitch. He's the biggest bitch in the whole wide world. He's a really, really bitch. He's a really, really bitch. He's a really, 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 really bitch. That is all.
Are you happy now?
Yeah, a little bit.
Did you just fucking throw up?
Yeah, how can you tell?
All right. Whew. It's been a long time since we've recorded twice in the same week.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm looking forward to it. And this is gonna be the last time you guys see me recording like this, because finally getting the contractors out here to finish out my studio area, so that way walls will be done. I'll be able to have like a nice actual studio set up and everything. So I'm really excited. Have the walls painted, stuff hung up, set up, and everything. A nice, finally looking good and everything. But you went to the Texans game last night. So how was it?
Well, the game started out good. They kind of came in with that little bit of momentum, and then like Texans do, they shit the bed by the end of it. But I'll give them this. They were running a lot of no-name players. Guys that are looking at making the squad, the 53 man. So
It,
you
it's
know,
kind of
I,
some tryout sessions. A little bit.
yeah.
Yeah,
Essentially, that's what it was. Mertz tore his ACL. He's
yeah. I
the
saw that. I
quarterback.
saw that.
Yeah, that we picked up, which he got hurt in college. He had high hopes back then, but the problem is he fell in the draft because he was hurt prior. We took a chance on him. He tore his ACL again, and now he's going to be sitting on the bench like a bitch. But yeah, we'll see. Now we got to fucking figure out what we're going to do. But I will say this: Davis Mills, Draft Neck Mills, Long Neck Mills, Guinness Book of World Record longest neck in the world Mills. That motherfucker's really got to start over Stroud. Like in that first drive he had, his completions were on point. He was doing phenomenal. Like he was dropping them in the bucket. And I was watching, I started thinking about it later in the game. I said, I wonder if this motherfucker purposely misses passes in games. And my thought on this is this motherfucker's getting a paycheck to sit on the bench, to be a backup, right? He don't want to start and get hurt. He knows that he's locked into the team. He's going to ride the bench,
It's
free paycheck.
like Mox on Varsity Blues.
Yeah, bro. And like it's like he'll be playing a game and he's like all-star, all-star, all-star. Inconsistency. Like the moment someone says to him, like, bro, you're doing a great job. Like, hell yeah. He's like, oh shit, I better start missing some passes. So I don't know, but Mills is really, I honestly think Mills is a better quarterback than Stroud. But the other fucked up thing is we sat there and we're sitting down by the sideline and I didn't see Stroud once on the sideline the whole time. Everything, Will Anderson was there, Tank Dell,
Is something wrong with him?
Clowning
He
was,
just wasn't there.
I don't know, but if he's going to be the team captain, the motherfucker should be on the sideline with his guys. And we were looking, even to the point of taking our phones out and like zooming in on every face on the sideline just in case we were missing someone.
Yeah,
And
because you're on the Texan side, so you would have been closest to him. So
yeah, we were, 20 feet from him,
yeah,
and we didn't see him at all, which I think's shitty. Like if he wasn't down there with his guys, and maybe he was up in the Texans box or something,
I
but
mean,
still,
I don't know. Maybe something was going on. I don't know, but that's weird. That is weird. He
Like
should have been
like
there
he's
regardless.
yeah,
Yeah.
like he's a little bitch. That's the only thing I see going on.
Yeah. But I mean, regardless, did you go with Elaine?
Yeah, we went. Yeah.
I mean, did you have fun? Was it fun?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it was fun. It was phenomenal. Great time. Every time we go to a Texans game, the stadium's amazing. The people that work there, everything about it's great. So we never have any problems. We love it every time, and but no different from when we go to Minute Maid, or I can't call it Minute Maid anymore. Daikin.
Yeah.
Anytime
Yeah.
we go to Daikin to see the Astros play, all the stadiums down here are great. I don't think that you know our sports teams get enough praise for as good as the staff and everything is down around them. So, but yeah, yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. Well, we have we have a special guest, and I have a special intro for him. So, introducing someone who has been making quite the rounds nowadays. It is Dennis Feitosa, Def Noodles, who has been making quite the spin nowadays as he took on a fucking genocidal maniac from the IDF. Yeah.
Got me feeling
I
like
hope it picked
right
up your
now.
voice on that because I couldn't hear shit you were saying.
Oh man. I've been planning that since I first saw that you wanted to come on, man.
Oh yeah, that was great. Thank you for the introduction, fellas. Thank you for having me. Rusty and Dusty, that rhymes. It's great.
Yeah, it just felt
Absolutely.
different.
Yeah.
Uh, are your last name? What are you, an Italian?
So my mom is
Or,
Italian. My dad is Portuguese.
oh,
I grew up in. I spent a part of my life growing up in Brazil, but I went to boarding school in Florida. So I went. I moved out there when I was 12, and then grew up in Florida from there on, and then I moved to New York. After that, lived in New York for many, 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 many years, and I've been out in LA for about 10.
damn! How is it being around all these LA
Liberal,
homos?
the liberals.
Yeah, yeah.
I got to be honest with you, it made me a lot more patient because they're kind of all over the place, you know. So
Yeah.
I don't think they, it's funny because there's that. A lot of people say that they grow up liberal, then they become conservative, and so you have to assume that a lot of the times most liberals are just uninformed or they're just ignorant, and you just educate them long enough, and they'll eventually come to common sense or some kind of reasonable
Oh,
position.
absolutely. Well, I
I,
have noticed that a lot of foreigners, like guys from other countries, when they immigrate to the US or whenever they've lived abroad for X amount of time and come here, a lot of them turn out to be conservatives. Really straight off the bat.
Yeah, yeah. It's a mixed bag though, because I think when it comes to specific demographic groups, like when it comes to Mexicans, they usually when they migrate to America, generationally, they're one of the few groups of immigrants that actually ends up becoming Republican or moving over to the conservative side. Pat Buchanan has a whole book where he analyzes that, and he really he explains how most even you have a lot of Indians within 2 generations they become Republicans. Like
Mhm.
every European group that's ever come here has become Republican within 2 generations. They've been the only demographic that over time, very rarely do they end up moving away from the Democrat Party, and it's. I think LA is in fact one of the few outliers where they most of our party here, I would say about 30% of it, there are a lot of Hispanic Mexicans or descendant of Mexicans that are Republican and very conservative, which, you know, it, most Mexicans, they're Catholic, they're entrepreneurial, they come out here, if they're coming legally, even when they come illegally, they're trying to start a business, but they have some sense of entrepreneurialism. So I don't understand why they would not want to be Republican. A lot of the times it comes down to immigration, right? Because they want to
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
everybody
well,
else.
Rusty, correct me if I'm wrong, but down here in Texas, I think I see more Hispanics that are actually on the right than I do on the left. The
They
the main
you
the
do
main
now.
difference is
You do
yeah, the
now.
main difference is a lot of the ICE policy. So they're kind of torn on the ICE policies,
Uh,
but you've got a lot more that are fiscal conservatives that are Bible thumper conservatives, all that. Um, but you
Well,
think it was
what
more
we
left
saw
before,
what
bro?
what we saw well, I mean, you saw it in the demographic change but from the 2020 election to the 2024 election. Like you saw the quite literally, I mean, even when you saw how literally zero counties from voting more red across the entire nation, but even just in Texas, all the way down to the border, where pretty much everybody there's illegal when you look at it. I mean,
yeah,
like all of them shifted red. They
yeah.
all shifted red just because of the fact that um even the people there, they don't agree with how so much was going on with just allowing the flow of unchecked crap coming through. So everybody was shifting to the right and more conservative on that notion just itself.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's really interesting. I'm curious because I know that there's a flight. There's a lot of the middle class in California is leaving. They're going to Tennessee, but a lot of them are going to Texas. They're like looking
Yep.
for freedom in Texas. Have you
yeah,
guys seen a lot of
Oh yeah.
Californians that are out there?
yeah. So my neighbor over here, he's from California.
Uh,
Um, yeah, I see a lot of people over here that are coming in from California. He's still got some of his liberal ideology, but he's
mm,
kind of now getting to the point where, does he like Trump? No. But do I like Trump? No. So it's one of those type of situations that we can find some common ground.
yeah.
Um, just a little bit different. There are some cultural differences, between it. And I think it's meshing well. But you being in California, are you like, do they shit on you a lot over there for being,
Oh yeah.
Republican?
Yeah, like all the time. We go to college campuses and I don't hide it at all. I wear it on my sleeve. I'm extremely conservative. I'm socially conservative. I'm way more conservative than the Republican Party itself. The establishment here in California has moved the party like considerably left.
Yeah, yeah.
The pro abortion and the pro gay marriage and pro like a whole other set of things. As a Catholic, I'm against those things. So yeah, I mean, I go to college campuses. I've been yelled at UCLA. I've been yelled at USC. I've been called a fascist at like every college that I go to. I've had people threaten to beat me up. I've been escorted by the police on my way out. Uh, but it's good because when you go to these places, especially college campuses here in LA, you realize just how many people are like us or conservative. They may not necessarily be voting Republican because of disillusion with the party or something, but they share our values, and they're sometimes just scared to talk about it, right? And us being there and kind of taking the hits, the arrows for them, it kind of makes them more comfortable to organize as students and just voice some of their more conservative opinions. I mean, there's so many times I must have tabled at UCLA over 100 times in the last year. And there's so many times where I've had like literal communists like come up and try to take our cameras down, try to take our table down and do something. And I've had
But
conservative students.
you're the fascist.
Exactly. Yeah. And I've had conservative students approach me afterwards and just say, "Thank you so much. I'm like terrified that any of my friends would know that I'm conservative, but thank you so much for just doing this because it makes me not only meet other like-minded people, but also just it starts creating that." Uh, Making the ideology more commonplace, right? Or at least those values more commonplace in colleges. And you wouldn't imagine. I mean, some of these people at UCLA, I mean, and other colleges, they're just so far left. I mean, you wouldn't imagine just how far, and they can't really substantiate why they hold these positions, why they're a socialist or why they're a communist. It's just like they've heard the professor kind of sell it to them in a seductive way. and that now they think that America
because it feels good. That's why.
Yeah.
Well,
That's all whatever it comes down to. It feels good, but they can't
Exactly,
ever quantify anything. Because if you ask them, okay, well, how do we do this because of this? Like you have to. Anytime we have to ask them, okay, well, they were like, well, we need to tax the rich. Okay, well, what happens when we need to do this? They already tax this much, and then how do we pay for this? Because they think, well, we need free healthcare. Okay, well, nothing is ever free. They don't actually understand that nothing is ever truly free. So how do we pay for it? Well, we need to tax more. Well, okay,
Yeah.
well, you don't understand how trickle down economics works. It's eventually going to come down to you. You're going to get taxed the shit out of, but they don't want to ever hear that because free healthcare, it feels good. Don't get me wrong. Everything, trust me, a free house, a free college degree, trust me, I want that. That fucking sounds amazing. It feels amazing to hear, but I'm not stupid. So I know that's not realistic.
It's a great slogan, but that's all it is, because you're going to have to pay for it. I'm going to have to pay for it. We're all going to have to pay for it collectively instead of, allowing the market to set the price, which is, the whole idea of free healthcare is just, it's as fallacious as you can imagine. So my parents live in Portugal. My brother lives in Germany. I've been to Europe numerous times, and I've seen what the healthcare system is out there. They constantly sell us, especially the Democrats, the Bernie Sanders of the world. And look, there's some things that I agree with Bernie on, but this specifically, the healthcare thing, which is what they keep pushing the most, it's ridiculous the way that they're pitching it, because it is absolutely not real. It's not real. It's not founded in reality. There's no way to finance this, in the sense that you go to these European countries that have it, and what happens? You have to get supplemental health care. So you have to pay for insurance anyway, right? You have to, you get your health care rationed, so you don't get it when you need it. You have to literally wait in line. My mom had to go to the doctor. She had an earache last week. She had to wait a whole week to get an appointment with a doctor so she could see the specialist, right? They told her, like, it's going to be 3 months out. She went to the public hospital. She was going to have to wait there for like a day and a half, basically, in line, right? It's awful. It's not exactly what you need when you need it.
And that's the VA for you.
I've heard horror stories about the VA. I really I think it's a great disservice what they do to our veterans. You guys sacrifice so much, and then you come back home and you have to wait for months just to get your medication or even your psych eval so you can qualify for it, right?
Yeah, and well, so that's two totally different things. When you're getting your initial appointments to get your disability rating, and then post disability rating like regular healthcare. It's two different processes. Both are completely shit. Don't get me wrong, but it's two different things. Because the best way to go about it, whenever you're about to get out of the military, in your last 6 months of service, you're allowed to start doing VA rating appointments, which is what I did. So my disability rating was, I got my disability rating a lot faster because I did it in my last 6 months of service. Therefore, it was put as a priority, because what the VA doesn't want to do is have me start my process after I get out, and then say I take upwards of a year to get it done. They have to back pay me a lump sum check of over a year. They don't want to do that. So if I start getting my appointments done, and then they give me my rating maybe a month after, then they only have to pay me a month of back pay versus a year of back pay.
Wow.
So, but when you do people who wait maybe a couple of years after they get out, because maybe it's just not a priority for them, or they don't want to deal with the VA because nobody wants to, that's when it can take upwards of a couple of years, trying to fight with the VA, trying to get appointments and stuff like that. Those are the worst horror stories you deal with, trying to get your original disability rating. And then post care, trying to get in. And even when you get in, you get doctors telling you, you're fine, or they dismiss it because they don't want to send you to further evaluation, further specialists to actually take what you're saying really seriously, because they just think you're probably they don't believe really a lot what you're saying sometimes. Say, something's wrong. I feel that something is wrong. With my head, I feel like I need like a CT scan or something like that because maybe something worse is going on. And they'll be like, well, let's just give you some of these pills or whatever like that, and we'll check back in like 6 months or whatever like that. And they don't want to take that kind of things seriously, because trying to get you in for an MRI or whatever like that is what really people try to fight for, and they don't hardly ever get.
Like on mine, whenever I got out, I didn't get 6 months to prep on out. So I got out on a medical discharge. I got hurt. They put me out on MEB, a med board. So whenever I got out, I didn't know the process. They really don't tell you about the process much. I got out on a medical discharge and I was set at 0% for probably 6 years, something like that. Because number one, I didn't know how to do it. Number two, I'm traveling the country and I didn't know what the fuck to do. And then whenever you get to the point, you're finally sit down and you're like, okay, well, I've got time to try to work this out. Then they tell you you're just fine. And they want to act like you're completely lying to them about every fucking thing you tell them. Like, for God's sakes, they bitch about my hearing, but then they're like, but we don't want to pay you anything for it. We don't want to give you a percentage for it because it's not connected to your other hearing issue. Like, they'll acknowledge one hearing issue, like, but the other one, they're like, we're not going to acknowledge that one. Like, we don't know if they have any correspondence.
I've actually looked into why it is so hard to get a rating for hearing loss. I've actually looked into that. So the most that anybody gets for hearing across the board, which I have, my wife has, because my wife's a veteran as well, is you get, and I'm sure you have it, because you get 10% for ringing in your ears, right? Almost every veteran has that. It's almost a gimme. You can't prove you have it. You can't prove you don't have it. Most of us have it. I worked on the flight line for many years, all the jets and planes taking off, right? People like him who, out there shooting and stuff like that, or, bombs and stuff blowing up. Again, you get ringing in your ears. But for people who suffer like legitimate hearing loss and maybe they need a hearing aid, you can only get further than 10% for hearing loss if it is paired with blindness. I've looked into that.
Really?
That is because think about it. If they would give more, you know how many more people would have a higher rating because of hearing loss?
Damn, I never thought about that. So it's a way to fuck our veterans in the asshole.
Yes, because I was sitting, because my wife, she really has really bad hearing loss. Like she could probably get a hearing aid because she has a hard time hearing. And I was like, why can't she get more than 10%? So I started looking into it. And you only get more for actual legitimate hearing loss if it's paired with something else, in the majority of the time, if it's paired with a blindness. Like it's like if you get hit with like an IED or explosion or something like that, right? Which causes a partial blindness and hearing loss at the same time. That's the only time you can get it.
Well, I have a question for you guys. Based on everything you guys are saying, it kind of, I'm curious. So the system works more? It's a network of hospitals that are under the VA, or is it more of an insurance that you guys are given and the VA covers those costs if you go to a hospital?
The answer is yes to both. So there's VA clinics, like actual VA hospitals, where you can go and you actually have like VA doctors where you can go and get seen for like actual stuff. Now, we also have what's called community care. 99% of us prefer that because, one, when we get referred to community care, it's a way for us to get seen most of the time faster, because we're not relying on the actual VA government doctors. We're relying on real, actual, like civilian doctors. It's a way for us to get seen faster, and it's a way for us to get adequate care because we're not relying on government systems. Now, the caveat to that is depending on where you are, like if you're not in a bigger, area, like I'm in Fort Worth, he's in Houston, we have the ability to make sure that, or not to make sure, but we have a greater ability to find civilian doctors and community care that are covered under the TRICARE umbrella, because TRICARE is the insurance that covers the military and the veterans. that will be covered and take it. Now, if you're in a more rural area, you'd most likely don't have that option because you
Mm.
might have a smaller clinic that that won't take TRICARE, and then you also probably don't have a VA clinic that's nearby, and so you're screwed having to drive hours and hours to a VA clinic to try to get health care.
Interesting. And the coverage that you get depends on that rating exclusively, right? So if you go to a hospital, it depends on that rating,
No,
or
no, the rating doesn't determine your level of care.
Mhm.
Your rating determines your amount of compensation you get for per month for the rest of your life.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, the rating is a monthly. It's a disability. It's almost like a
Check.
disability payment. It's a
It's like a
Gotcha.
disability. Yeah,
stipend. It's like a
yeah.
stipend.
Gotcha. But so then you get full coverage through the VA for everything, or is
Not
there a
necessarily.
copay or anything?
No, no. For the veteran, you get full coverage up. But there is a difference if you have 100% disability versus if you only have 30% disability.
Mhm.
But if you have, the main difference is like I would say for the most part, the two main differences if you have 100% disability from the VA versus like 30% is 100% you get dental, which
Mm.
is still not that great, but you have the ability to get it, and you're allowed to get um,
Your
health care for
family.
your family if you have
Gotcha.
100%. And you get more VA education benefits and a few other things when you get 100% disability as well.
Hmm. Wow. It's so that and the system itself sounds like it's profoundly dysfunctional. Imagine blowing that out to the whole population, right?
Oh yeah.
Uh, Most people aren't.
Extremely.
It would, and this is what we start seeing, right? It's the rationing of care. It's that you guys have a choice between the VA hospital and the private hospital. You're going to go to the private hospital if you get a chance because you're not only is the quality of care, but the speed of the care too. So it's imagine blowing that system out to the whole country. All of a sudden, what ends up happening are the things that insurers choose to not cover, right, and try to save money on, the government is going to be making those decisions for you, right? And we don't want
Exactly.
government. We don't want the government telling us, right? Oh, you can't get a treatment for that. Oh, you have to go to another doctor, right? That's why universal health care it sounds great on paper, but it doesn't work practically because ultimately none of us want whoever's in office to decide whether or not we can get that treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I've got an example of just that happened this last couple weeks. So my uncle, uh, they found out he had a very large aneurysm.
Mm.
Very, very, very large. My aunt, she works in the medical industry, but not on that side, not on the neuro side. And so they reached out to a doctor and they're like, okay, well, we're going to get him in to see this guy. So he kind of, the guy, that doctor's like, okay, yeah, we'll see him, as soon as we can, whatever. They kind of pushed it back a little bit. Well, my mother, she's like, she calls my aunt and she's like, hey, can I check around, some different doctors and all that. My mom ended up finding the best neurosurgeon in the world that he's based here in Houston, and, he teaches other neurosurgeons. She reaches out to him, they reach out to him, they get my uncle set up with him. Within 2 weeks, my uncle just had brain surgery last week, and from the top brain surgeon in the world. Now, here's the thing about, socialist healthcare. You can't do that. It's whoever they send you to. You don't have a choice. So when you privatize, we have a choice
Mhm.
on, do we want someone that's going to make our joints, our brain, our back, our muscles, whatever better? Like that much better, or do we want something that's going to be mediocre, or someone that's going to be just sitting there pulling a paycheck because they know they're not going to get fired? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's how kind of a lot of the VA doctors are. That's why you get so many old ones. They go there to retire, or they're piece of shit doctors. Now, granted, there are some good ones over there, but you get so many shitheads that get fired from every other fucking hospital. So what do? They go work for the VA, and because the VA is at such a doctor shortage, because no one wants to work for the government. They're essentially just pulling a paycheck, writing out their time, doing the bare fucking minimum, not giving a shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a dysfunctional system, and there's no incentive to actually get the good talent, which is,
Mhm.
you know, it's what ends up happening just in general whenever you have socialism. That's why most socialist countries, if they want to be able to, you know, aggregate wealth, if they want to be able to develop technologically, they end up having to open their economy. It's what China
Yeah.
did, what Russia did. They end up having to adopt capitalistic principles and having an open market so that they
It's
can
what all
act
the Nordic countries did too. So
exactly.
Capitalistic socialism.
And
Yeah.
that's really what makes America America and why nobody can compete with us. You look, China's been around for over 2,000 years. Thousands of years. They've had dynasties. They couldn't put a man on the moon for 2,000 years. Our country did it in 250 years. Not even that, 200 years. You know how remarkable that is. So many empires, so many different. You know what? It was purely because of the free market, because there were these principles, these great principles that these great thinkers thought about and put in installed not just into the economy of our country, but into the government. These ideas of free speech and you know, freedom of thought, freedom to express yourself, to move around, to choose where you want to live, to carry, right?
Yeah.
Holding your this is our
yeah,
government's
yeah, Carrie.
in the history of the world where you can hold your government accountable.
Do you actually think we put someone on the moon, though?
I know all the conspiracy theories. We can talk about them. I think they're interesting.
He fucking, as soon as you said something about the moon, he started shaking his fucking head at me. He fucking knew it.
So here's my question, because I do think it's plausible that Stanley Kubrick made that movie, and it was a terrific movie. And he's you know, he's a terrifically skilled filmmaker. I like to believe that we did, just because of national pride and because I love this country, right? And I think that when we come together, we can achieve something great. But I am also skeptical, as always. I know that we, you know, we're pretty skilled in propaganda as well. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't ask our government to do that. So
Well, given that it was all going on at the time, now I have two theories, right?
Mhm.
One, given that the government just has a long history of pulling the wool over our eyes and lying to us a lot of things, right?
Mhm.
Like, because we all know the nuclear test propaganda that they play to the Russians, right?
And they just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
We all know those are propaganda films, and they were very well done for the time, like that point in time. They were very well done for that time. We all look at it now. I'm like, how did anybody ever believe that? You know, but
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
gotta, you gotta know the time period, right? And then, so here's my theories, right? One, again, propaganda. We didn't go, and then you have a whole bunch of different things, and we all know that there was uh, a movie set that was built to film that stuff. Like, that's not really contested. Then you have like it almost felt like it was like a backup plan in case we didn't make it, right?
Mhm.
But then I also think that there's another theory of like, we did make it there, and the reason we haven't gone back, because what I don't buy is that we lost the technology. I think that is the most absurd thing you could sell to the public now, that we haven't used AI to recreate the technology 3,000 different times by now. Like,
Yeah.
to sell to the public that we lost 1969 technology
Yeah.
and we can't recreate it, I think that's the dumbest thing to ever say. So
Well,
that
Yeah.
to me is one of those things of like, really? So maybe there's something up there that they don't want us to know about, and that's
that's
why we
true.
haven't, so that's like one of the two ways I go about it. You know what I mean?
Well, I am skeptical about whether it was Apollo 11. I do believe that we went eventually, perhaps not went on Apollo 11, because there are images of the moon where you can see the flag is still planted on there. So maybe perhaps it was a later on mission that we ended up getting out there. And I think it also comes down to incentives. I mean, you win the race, you don't have a reason to go back, right? I'm also skeptical of how they transmitted the video, the live feed, because
a
that's
phone call to the White House. Really?
exactly, yeah. That's they barely had TV, like live television. How are they doing this? So yeah, I mean, it's like with anything, it's reasonable to be skeptical of it because there are legitimately a lot of red flags around it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Um,
Is definitely weird when you think about it. Like when you, because obviously, you know, growing up, you're always like, oh man, we went to the moon, hell yeah, you know. But and then the more you learn about how fucked up the government is, the more you're like, did we though? Did we though?
you guys watch? Speaking of conspiracies, did you guys watch this Candace Owens and
I
Andrew
did.
Wilson debate?
I did.
You did?
I
What'd you
watched the whole
think?
thing. So I watch Candace Owens every day.
Uh-huh.
And I used to, and I also used to really like Andrew Wilson, and it's not because of him attacking or being against Candace Owens that I don't really care for Andrew Wilson anymore. I think over the past probably 8-9 months, he's had a weird shift that I don't agree with, and it's not because of like how he debates. How he debates has never changed,
Mhm.
but the one against Owen Schroyer
Mm,
is what changed my perspective on him.
mm,
Now, so today, I personally, and call it bias, maybe, I think Candace won. And I think it's one of those things of like, I liked how she didn't allow him to control how she responded, because that's really how his debate tactics work. And it's always one of those things of like, he's like, first repeat back to me the claim so I can make sure you understand. He's like, wants to turn you into a parrot. So make sure
mhm.
he controls you. I'm just like, and in my mind, I'm like, fuck you. You're not going to tell me what to do. I'm going to respond and we can keep talking here. But two, um, when one thing that made me kind of feel like he came in dishonest and he left like a bitch was he came in saying, I have these text messages about
Mhm.
how the left. And then he ends it with like, well, I'm not going to show him. I'm going to show it on my podcast.
Oh yeah, I didn't catch that
Really?
one. I've only
That
watched
was,
some clips.
no, that was he at the very end because
Was
Candace
it at the
said,
end?
you said you had the text messages. Would you like to show us? And he was like, and then PBD was like, oh yeah, would you? He was like, no, I'm going to reveal that on my show.
Huh. Interesting.
He didn't even show him. I'm just like,
Yeah.
really? You're gonna make that claim in your opening statement and you're gonna fucking leave without even proving this?
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know that there's a lot of skepticism around the way he was assassinated. I'm not really a gun expert. Maybe you guys know this a little bit better than I do, but I know the skepticism around the bullet, how his neck reacted, all of that seems relatively fair to me. The skepticism around it doesn't seem like that a bullet of that caliber would just leave his neck intact, right?
No,
Or not,
absolutely
or
not.
even leave his neck intact. Let's forget the fact that it didn't almost decapitate him, right?
Yeah.
Let's forget that fact. To not leave an exit wound is the major thing. Okay. But here's the thing, because what was revealed on the debate itself, right, was the
Mhm.
actual something from the medical examiner report where it showed the obliteration of C2 to C7. Right now,
Mhm.
if I don't know if you've seen the unfortunate video of Charlie getting assassinated, right?
I have, yeah, I have,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you saw that it went in like right about here,
Yeah.
right? Now, this is right above like the clavicle collarbone area.
Yeah, it's like his carotid artery, right? It's like right
Like,
there.
yeah, like right about here, right?
Yeah.
But the medical examiner shows obliteration from C2 to C7, which is up here
Up there, huh?
down to here. How the fuck does the bullet go from here up to down? How does that happen?
It's another magic bullet theory. I was just thinking of the JFK
Yeah.
situation. They had the magic bullet, but in the JFK assassination, the exit wound actually blew out the back of his head. So that was one of the things that the medical examiner had to deal with. They had to like literally put his brain back together because it just blew it out. And it was a longer distance. You know, if you actually, and this is, I'm also kind of a conspiracy theorist on this. I don't believe Oswald did it himself. I don't even think he fired a shot because he wasn't even that good of a marksman.
No.
But if he in fact shot it, he shot it from a larger distance than where Charlie got shot. So, and there was an empty one.
Yeah, and the way whatchamacallit, Andrew Wilson was trying to present himself as some guy, because apparently he was a gunsmith, which is news to me. He was saying like air dispersal of the bullet coming in from 140 yards is the reason why when it came from 140 yards, it hit here. That's the reason why the whole thing for that, which is complete bullshit. That's not going to happen coming from there. Now, on top of that, John Bray, the guy who's presenting the exploding mic theory, he posted a video shortly after the debate was over showing a 50 caliber BMG coming from a distance, going past it was like a pile like powder, and it was super slow mo, like high lenses, so you could see the bullet go through past balloons and everything. The powder didn't move, didn't disperse out or whatever like that. The balloons didn't move, and it just went straight between them with no air dispersal. So it completely blows that theory out.
Can you see this round right here?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a 7.62. All right. This is the gun that shoots that.
Wow, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This round is smaller than the 30-06.
Huh.
So the 30-06 round that supposedly assassinated Charlie is larger than this round right here.
How much bigger? Is it your whole palm? Or
no, it'd probably be about that much bigger.
And a little bit fatter because it has more grain.
Yeah, it's got a lot more powder in it. It's a heavier round. So, okay, I'll say it like this. I've hunted with 30-06s my whole life. I've hunted with everything 30-06s, 308s, 243s. The reason why I hunt with a 30-06 is because over the years, I'm older and I'm fatter and I don't want to track down a deer. So I want to shoot with something that causes maximal damage to an area of an animal that I don't really care about eating. So if I shoot a deer on its shoulder, so right behind the shoulder blade, whenever it exits the other shoulder, it blows out about this big. I've shot does in the head and it's completely decapitated. If that's on a deer, that is less body mass than the human body in certain areas. So whenever it hit him in the neck, it should have damn near decapitated him from the backside. That looked like an exit wound up here. That looked like a smaller caliber exit wound.
So here's that video. Here's that video I was talking about. Watch.
Very energetic impact.
Yeah.
We're with.
Huh. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Nothing is even moving.
Nope.
And that's with the BMG.
Very energetic impact.
Huh.
50 caliber bullet right there.
So maybe it was somebody with a pistol,
maybe not BMG. Yeah.
Behind him who shot him?
I think that he was shot from the high rear. So I've got two different theories. One theory is that he was shot with an alternate alloy round that could have been.
We did a whole episode on it.
Yeah, so like gallium or beryllium. So the melting point of those rounds is in the 80-degree Fahrenheit range. That means that round can melt in your hand. So if hypothetically you were to have that round, look, we can grab cold packs everywhere. So let's say hypothetically, if you're careful and you know how to use it, you pull it out of a cold pack, you pull it out of some sort of chamber, you put it in a round and you shoot it. Now that round, because of the kinetic force, it'll heat it up and it makes a splatter pattern. What's called a snowflake pattern when it hits you. So the entry wound somewhat looks like an exit wound, but the round will also absorb into your bloodstream. It's actually used by Israel and other other countries for assassination rounds.
Mhm.
Another thing that can be done with it is it can be shot out of like a spring or a compressed air gun. So
Mhm.
instead of having to shoot a combustible round, they can shoot it out of a spring projectile or air, and it's going to do the same thing. They just have to be a lot closer, but it's going to be quiet whenever they
Mhm.
do it. So yeah.
So interesting. So
Yeah.
Uh, that's so crazy. And would that spring loaded device, it wouldn't have to necessarily look like a gun. It could be a different shape, right?
Yeah, it could look like anything. Yeah,
Yeah.
Look like
100%.
anything.
Like a
And
camera, or it could be disguised as like a
yeah,
drink, like a tumbler, whatever like that. It would just have to have some kind of trigger point that you would literally just
so
press.
so there's actually so we found them online, compressed air spring I guess firearms you want to say that look like a Yeti or like one of the Stanley cups. And
Huh.
essentially all you'd have to do is pick it up and you can push the button on the handle and it would shoot out the bottle. So
Wow.
there are firearms that are made that way. My other thought is he was shot from the high rear,
Mhm.
and my thinking of that is because they say that they found a shrapnel pieces that walked down his vertebrae. So in
And
that
that would
situation,
describe the actual
yeah.
C2 to
So
C7.
if he was hit high on his spinal column, if it entered here and that round's fractured, then part of that round, especially if it was a frangible bullet, part of it would blow out the front right here. The rest of it could hit that vertebrae and walk down into his chest cavity. So that's another option, which that is very plausible, especially knowing the fact that the very next couple days, what they did was they completely came in, dug out and excavated all that ground right there and cemented over it, which would essentially contaminate any evidence from a high rear shot. And going to speak on that, I went over some different videos, and the building high behind him, you can see the silhouette, what it looks like, what I would call a shooter in a crow's nest that
Interesting.
was
Yeah,
not there soon after.
we've we found someone that it looks like a person up in the right part in a couple of
And
screenshots that we took for
yeah,
some videos.
yeah.
That's so
So
crazy. There's just so much it's just so blatant the way that the narrative rolled out almost immediately that it was this guy. They got a confession. Uh, there are a lot of there are a lot of there's a lot of evidence, a lot of things. It just rolls it out as though it just appears to be fabricated.
yeah,
I'm very
Tho-
skeptical about what happened to him anyway.
those messages, uh, so what's funny is not long after when those messages of him confessing to his furry boyfriend, right?
Mhm.
Um, it was on the PBD podcast actually. Um, they put the messages in both Grok and Chat GPT. And this is
Mhm.
the first time that I've ever seen this because, different algorithms, right?
Yeah.
Both Grok and Chat GPT gave the same exact output that these looked AI generated.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
That what to me was like, holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's I'm thinking like there's a theory too that says that he could be MK Ultra, that he was set up. He didn't actually fire the shot, or his shot didn't actually ever even hit Charlie. I don't know. There's just so many different angles on this. Um I don't believe it. It's just too convenient that all of a sudden they caught the guy, like you said, they covered up all the evidence. Uh, the exit wound. I mean, it's just so bizarre because even a lay person like myself, I watch him getting shot, and there's that one shot that's like up close, and you just see his neck, like it just go like that. And when I first saw it, I was like, well, it just hit his carotid artery. This guy, whoever shot him, has to be like a terrific shooter in order to hit that artery that like kills you instantly, right? Uh, so You come to find out the guy doesn't even know how to fire a gun properly, right? So how does that even happen, right?
Okay, I'm going to say it like this. I'm actually going to play the devil's advocate on that statement. That was
Uh,
an easy shot. That's at 147
And
yards or whatever it is.
and you're
That's an
also
easy shot.
we're
uh,
also assuming again, like he's saying, playing devil's advocate. We're also assuming that that was a shot he intended to make. Because let's say that this is 100% all true. Tyler Robinson, nobody else. He maybe, because at 140 yards, you could make that shot without even looking through a scope if you're aiming center mass.
yeah.
Yeah.
So let's assume he was aiming center mass with a scope that's not even zeroed in. If what they're claiming is he had it taken apart and he put it back together, now it's not even zeroed in anymore. And then he took the shot center mass and it was high right, which put it right there. That's what we can assume in a symbol in some type of way. So that's playing devil's advocate of like trying to assume that this is all true, which we don't believe.
Yeah,
So what,
you can't say that was a hard shot because that was an easy shot. Now, where it becomes a hard shot for someone that's not trained is when you get a adrenal dump. So whenever you and I'll put it in a hunter's term, buck fever. So when you get adrenal dump and your body, so your legs will start trembling, all that stuff before you shoot to take that life. It happens the same thing on like deer or hogs or whatever your target is. So that's where it makes the shot hard because you can pull around really easy if you don't control your breathing, if you don't do that. That is where it makes that shot a little bit harder for someone that is not used to shooting. Next to that is we looked at some different photos of the venue, and that would not have been a crow's nest that I would have chosen, if I were him. There was other areas that were that had more cover, that had better exfil, that had better infill, just across the board. It was a bad place to take a shot from. So, and then if you look at the shot angle, so from where he was at to where Charlie was with the tent over him, essentially what he would have been seeing because of the tent across in front of him would have been this.
yeah.
So he wouldn't have been able to see his whole head, his neck, all that because of the elevation to point
But
of
then
impact.
that could also be explained. Well, he wasn't aiming for his head; he was aiming for center mass. So.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So
There's
Wow.
just a lot of things that don't add up, and then that George Zinn that just seems to have just kind of faded away. The guy who immediately stood up, said, I did
Oh
it, I
yeah.
did it, dropped his pants, who was also at 9/11, who was also at one of those, I think, Oklahoma City bombings and shit like that.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
he's just always there at some of the worst fucking points in America.
Yeah.
And he just kind of faded away. Like, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
people totally forgot until you mentioned him now. I had totally forgotten. He was the guy. There was so many videos and photos of him getting arrested. They thought it was him.
Yeah,
And
because
then,
he stood up
funny
and
enough-
said, I did it, I did it.
exactly. But funny enough, it was like, so this is, now that you're mentioning this guy, now I'm almost certain that the shot came from the crowd, because for people to think, like, just think if you're in the middle of all of it, how would you believe that that's somebody who's there would have fired the shot unless you had heard the shot come from around you instead of all the way back
Exactly.
there?
yeah.
And then on top
Well,
of
then-
that, hang on real quick. On top of that, there was a senator there, a senator or a congressman. I can't remember his name, but he is stuck to this day because he gave like an interview to the press like right after. He is stuck till this day that he believes that the shot came from within like 50 to 75 feet, like really close. He thought that the shot was really, really close to Charlie, not off way in the distance, behind everybody from the roof. He maintains that story to this day that he believes the shot came from really close.
Wow.
And then on top of that, a police officer found a holster in the crowd.
Mm.
an
Yeah.
empty holster.
Officer Bagley, the guy whose body cam conveniently died when he went up to the roof where Tyler Robinson was, he found a holster in the crowd, like on one of the steps in the whole venue area, and he decided that it wasn't important, so it was never booked into evidence or anything like that, because he was like, well, when I saw it, I didn't think it was important because I just knew from the sound that it was a rifle, so I didn't even think it was important. That is true.
Man.
That is almost verbatim what he said.
I know, but it's just so silly to think like, oh yeah, here's some evidence. Oh no, disregard this. I already know what happened. Like it's not
Exactly.
It's so silly.
And then on top of that, he on his body cam, apparently we didn't get to see it, but the defense was questioning him on the body cam footage that she had saw before it died, that when he was going up to the roof, going to the stairs that led up to the roof, that he had met someone or someone that came to him in plain civilian clothes
Mhm.
with what seemed to be a badge and a gun. And he just did the trust me, bro.
Mhm.
Didn't verify who this person was. So just saw, well, I saw that they had a badge and a gun. So I just I just said, well, now I have backup to go to the roof. Didn't even verify if they were real law enforcement or anything. Just,
Yeah.
but because they were in plain clothes.
Yeah. It's so crazy. It's funny we're talking about this. Are you guys like, as far as the Butler shooting, are you guys also,
Oh, don't get us started.
I am so skeptical about that one too. One of the biggest signs is to me that there was something fishy going on. Is you watch that clip that shows the sniper on top of the roof, and he sees his hesitation. To me, it's almost like he waits until the guy gets the shot out. He looks through his scope
Yeah.
like 3 or 4 times, and he only fires a shot afterwards. I mean, I'm not a military guy, but
after it was
I would want
missed.
to take the guy out first. I think that's the protocol, right?
Say it again.
Yeah,
What
the
was the
protocol is
protocol?
you take the guy out before he fires a shot, right?
Yes. Yeah. Whenever you, in a situation where you've got, the president or whatever, absolutely. So when you look at something and you have a situation where you feel there's an imminent threat, that
Mhm.
you neutralize threat before it really becomes an active threat.
But
So
even a suspicion, right? Would if you see the guy is mounted and he's ready to fire a shot, wouldn't that suspicion be enough to you don't have
yeah,
to
yeah, that's imminent threat. So
Yeah.
whenever it comes to the president, if there is something is viewed as imminent threat, which that would be, um, they have every right to take them out, and they will
There
usually.
there is no fired when fired upon.
Yeah.
So let's say hypothetically, I'm in a venue close to a world leader, okay, and
Uh-huh.
whatever their secret or service or whatever's around them, and let's say I've got a firearm on my hip. If I reach at that firearm for any reason, even to reposition it or whatever, they could technically shoot me at that moment because I'm an imminent threat.
Yeah.
They would rather take you out and not leave a chance for you to do anything.
Yeah.
Now,
And it's
here's the weirdest part about this situation, I think,
Yeah.
though. If you were the president of the United States and a motherfucker tried to kill you, don't you think that you would have every bit of DOJ investigating and releasing that information, full dossier and everything?
Yeah.
But no, he wants to sweep it under the rug and be like, water under the fucking bridge.
I
All I
think
got is a little scar.
I think was it the comedian, is it Tim Dillon or Seth? Which one? Seth
Yeah, I
Dillon?
think Tim,
Tim
Tim
Dillon.
Dillon, did he
Tim
do a
Dillon?
bit about this? Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, and I think a lot of us have been starting to think this lately whenever we still don't really know anything about this. It's just like, just
Mhm.
admit that you set it up, to get votes. Just admit it at this point, and we'll be and we'll be like, dude, that's awesome. Congratulations, you did it. You fooled us, and we voted for you. That's amazing. Just admit it at this point, because we don't believe you anymore. Like,
Yeah.
Give the motherfucker an Oscar. Give him a
Yes.
Grammy.
exactly.
It was, it definitely is. There's so many different of these psyops, and the fact, I mean, the fact the guy carried a ladder supposedly for over a mile, nobody
And
stopped him.
they identified him. They saw that he was carrying a ladder and a rangefinder. Like they admitted that they saw him carrying a ladder and a rangefinder, and they were just like, "Well, that's weird," and kept it trucking. Like,
Bro, there were people live streaming that day that you could see them going to the cops. There's somebody with a rifle up there. The cops are like, huh? Like, it's so strange.
Well, now beyond that, now I'm gonna also play further into this. So if I were the president in that situation and I looked at, you know, the SOPs from doing the pre-op and everything like that, I would fire every motherfucker on that staff. I would be investigating. Does someone else have something to do with, like, is this a, you know, inside job? Because whoever planned the security detail around Butler should have looked at every potential building, every possible, you know, they should have gridded out, looked at where can any threat come from, where could a shot come from,
well, hold
you
on,
know,
hold on,
where
hold
can
on,
we
hold
not
on,
want?
hold on,
Yeah.
hold on. They did, and you remember what they said, that a 20-degree slope is just not attainable for anybody to get on.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
But and hence why that it's so fucking weird. Look, if my fat ass can get on a 20-degree slope, if I can get on a fucking worse slope than that and make a fucking shot, then why the fuck can't, you know, like that's, God, what a fucking moron. What a fucking turd.
Gentlemen, I do have to go here. I appreciate you guys having me, though. This has been a great conversation.
Brother, I can't thank you enough for taking the time. I hope we could do it again, man. I really do. This has been amazing.
Yeah, hit me up.
Guys, make sure if you're in California listening, you need to get out and vote for Dennis Feitosa, Def motherfucking Noodles. Appreciate you coming on, brother. Like, guys, like, comment, share, subscribe, and never forget, Texas forever, motherfucker.